Do you have your superhero cape on today? All right, what am I talking about? Happy Wellness Wednesday, by the way. And I was talking to one of my clients this week, and they were expressing how they were essentially taught to be a savior in relationships. And even though we haven't dived into that particular mindset with that particular client yet, I haven't gotten into the roots of that yet. I have seen this mindset, this belief and this behavior of being a superhero or a savior in relationships. And I just wanted to talk about it for a few minutes. So a lot of the times when people are raised a certain way, specifically if you're like in birth order terms, if you're like a firstborn and you have a lot of siblings, or you're raised in a home where your caregivers or parents are, you know, they have substance abuse issues or mental health issues, and you kind of have to take over things. Or if you're parentified, meaning that you're a kid and you're doing a lot of, adult things, you have a mindset sometimes in relationships where you feel like you have to take up a lot of the slack and essentially like carry a lot of the emotional burden, financial burden in the relationships, and really just be a savior or a superhero for people around you. And so I see this a lot, and it's very complicated to, I guess, unpack for people, because essentially caring for people is not a bad thing, but there is a difference between being a caretaker and being a caregiver. And so if you are constantly trying to uplift people, and trying to do things for them on their behalf, or save them, or even stop them from absorbing consequences for their actions, then you have moved into the territory of being a superhero or a savior. And it's one thing to take care of kids who cannot take care of themselves, but it's another thing to try to take care of and nurture adults in this way. And so if you're in a relationship, an intimate relationship with a partner who doesn't really do a lot, doesn't have hopes, dreams, aspirations, doesn't have any direction in life, and you're constantly trying to motivate that person and push them forward and try to launch them into, what they need to be, you're dealing with a lot of insecurity, and that can leave the relationship being very imbalanced and one-sided, and it's very tiring, and it's very stressful, and it's very draining to deal with people who don't really know how to be adults or what to do as adults. So if you're a high achiever and you do things on a higher level, you're more than likely going to wind up with people who do not do things on the same level as you. So you have to figure out for yourself if you want to be in a relationship where you are saving people. Are you in a relationship where you feel like that person is savable or compatible? So that means that if we're compatible, then we're matching the same level of energy and effort and emotional involvement in the relationship. We're not necessarily just, going along to get along and kind of making that other person take up a lot of the slack. So reevaluate your relationships and see where you fit in. And if you're doing a lot of the emotional lifting, you're doing a lot of the financial lifting, you're doing a lot of the everything lifting, like you're just pedaling the bike, that the bicycle built for two, you're pedaling the bike all by yourself up the hill. Reevaluate that for yourself, and really ask yourself why am I doing all the work in this relationship, and why do I feel comfortable doing all the work in this relationship? What's the benefit of that? And once you really dig into the roots of that, you may find some childhood wounds that are unaddressed. And spoiler alert, a lot of people who have neglect or abandonment in their childhoods tend to gravitate towards people who are saviors or superheroes in the relationship. So, it's just time to just reevaluate and just look at, what's really stressing us out and what's really making us feel uncomfortable in some of these relationships. And once you do that, you may find some interesting connections to your childhood and what you've been taught and what you believe. But nevertheless, as you continue to grow, learn, and be introspective, be kind to you, be kind to those around you, and just continue to grow and learn as you go. All right, bye.